Okay, I just finished making a video that was about when I was working in senior living communities, and I was just really getting, touching the surface about what caused, it seems like, many of the employees and people who worked in the system to come up with conspiracy theories. And I'm not talking the kind of conspiracy theory that you could say, nah, that's never going to come true, that can't be true. No, these were ones that could be true. Okay. And some of them really, when I would hear them, and some of them really did seem like that was true, that they were true. Now, after I heard them, and say I had just started working there or doing volunteer work there, heard about these things, and then they come true. Some of them did. I did it for a few years, and I said never again. Because I started off doing volunteer work, and I did quite a bit. And somebody said, the life enrichment director told me, you should go and get your certification and become one and get paid for it. And so I did, and that was probably one of the worst mistakes in my life. I worked, oh my goodness, I really appreciated the people living in them. I did not have any problem with any resident at any of these places. They were really nice people. Some of these were really expensive places, some of them weren't. And like I said, I didn't, again, I'll say that. I did volunteer work at different ones. And even for my certification, I needed different experiences. And, but the people that were the problem were the people working there. Yeah, I talked about the corruption and all that. But what I'd started to talk about was about another kind of corruption I've seen since, or other kinds I've seen since. And, I am a social and behavioral scientist, so this would be something that I would pay attention to. And it's easy to come up with, some kind of like conspiracy theory, or, just being very suspicious. That's easy. Finding out the truth is not that easy. And I remember I did some deep dives back then, and it wasn't as easy to do deep dives as it is now. With one of them, because of, it was a bad scene. But anyway, this is something else, and this is not about a job for me. But, some things that I've seen are just kind of simple things, like, and it's not really all that about corruption, it's just how the system works. Or maybe I've become desensitized. Like two big grocery stores, one expensive, one not, and then finding out that they're, owned by the same corporations, just different corporate names. That had happened in the other one, and that found out a lot of people had conspiracy theories about that. And or there was just some weirdness that people working in the field knew, and this one was just I don't know it, and I don't really even care. It was just that I found some stuff at one grocery store and the other grocery store where there were products made by the same place. They just switched the labels. And there were so many things that they were doing exactly the same way. It's just that one was more expensive and the other one was not. Okay, got to have one or the other, But after I had this kind of suspicion about these two, one of them had on their website, because these places, these grocery stores, I don't know about where you live, but most of them you can do the order online and have it delivered, kind of thing, or go pick them up, whatever, like that. I would imagine most places do that these days, especially after 2020. But that was a situation with stuff like that. One of them I looked and this was recently, after all those years that I've thought that, I was on there to order something, and I saw that corporation was selling an item from the other one, which it had its name on the label of the product. The other corporation's name. Okay. A grocery store. You know, your brand name, you know, not the brand name, but the store name items. They're mark-offs. I don't know what you call them. So like I said, I'm not really interested in that. So it's just something I noticed. I was like, whoa, now they're, after all that time that I had suspected, I said, now they're actually advertising, they're selling something from that other with the corporate name. They don't care. People figure it out. So, okay. But there have been things that have come up in my life, and I know that because I make videos on them, that I am going to sound like I am just paranoid or something. But the bad thing is, it's easy. It would be easier to blame it on myself. I've said this so many times, than to actually think some of this stuff is really happening. You know, it's easier, but I'm a social and behavioral scientist. If I don't see these things, why did I go to school for so long? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you get it. I should be noticing these things. Somebody like me should be noticing them. If not, there's a problem. Okay? Not the other way around. Or whatever. But anyway, the latest one, it basically is like, if you, I don't even know how to put this, because I don't want to name all of them and what kind of field it's in or anything like that. But it's not really the kind of thing like, and it's not, well, like, you know how your name and your information can be sold to whomever. You know, there was a case like that a few years ago, wasn't there? Some case about some social media was, I don't even remember. They were selling people's, you know, like personal information, private information. What was that case a few years ago? Maybe it was longer than I think. And, well, I'm going to have to ask Adam, see if he remembers it. You know, we live in a life where so much happens that it's hard to remember everything. But, and I've been ill, so I have finally on the medication for my rare health condition I've had since I was a child, by the way. And one of the things that it causes is its own kind of brain fog. Plus, what the condition causes is separate. Diabetes causes brain fog. So I've been working under that. Two different types of brain fog. Not the same. Not the same. So, at all. You see those clouds, by the way. It's getting kind of scary. The wind's picking up. The trees are starting to really whip around over here in front of where, well, you can't see those, but I can. Yeah, so you can see the ones up there, but not the ones next to me right here. And anyway, so let me get back on with this. The latest one, it's something along that line. That not really selling your information, but at the same time, yeah, maybe. But it's something like you can trust certain. You know, I'm not only on YouTube. So I've had my first computer in 1982. I've seen a lot since then. 1982. Think about it. And I've had a computer. I had my first computer then, but I've had a computer consistently since 1990 or 1990 I was using, I think I had a computer, but for chatting online I was using, they called it what did they call it? That was a long time ago, you know. A dummy terminal. It was for something called Video Tell. Yeah, it's a long time ago. But anyway, so I've been on different types of social media. They didn't call them that back then, but yeah. And so I've been on them since way back then. And so I've seen a lot. And this one is that what they would be doing if it's true. I was talking about how people come up with conspiracy theories, that they could basically how do you put it? All your hard work is not going to benefit you. And they can make it such a threat that you would, I don't think I'm going to be saying this right, so I'm just going to make it kind of like a fake one. Well, this could be fake too. It's a conspiracy theory. But all your hard work would go to other people, and they would threaten you in a way that you would allow it to happen. I guess that would be the best way to put it. You know, wow. Yeah. Okay, and there was some more, you know, like, I just came up with a different one that could fall under the same kind of thing. That, I mean, as an example, you know, say you work for a certain large corporation, and you talk about it. You talk about on video what you do at that large corporation, or you say something, and you use their logo or something like this, you know, in your videos. And I've already said this about food delivery services. This part, you're not supposed to be doing that. Okay, using their logos. You're not supposed to be screenshotting and then putting on video. They can get you for copyright. From what I've heard, I do not know. I am not a copyright person. I don't know anything about that law, all the workings behind it, nothing. Okay, I am not a voice of authority on it, but from what I've heard, or what I understand from what I've read, or was taught in school, taught at university, you can't just take somebody else's stuff and use it like that. You know, some corporations, and anyway, that could be used. Like, there could be a contract between the social media platform and the or not even a contract. This is just how it is. That they have. Why is the mail carrier here? It is 7:15 p.m. and the mail carrier is making, I think it's a him, his rounds. p.m., not a.m. 7:16 now, p.m. That is really weird. Really, really weird. But today is Good Friday. So, does that have something to do with it? Is Good Friday a day off for them, or what? I don't know. And it's a post office box. I mean, post office. Yeah. It's not one of those delivery services. Anyway, yep, real life happens while making a video. But, you know, just, I mean, that could happen. I guess that, you know, I don't know if it's ever happened. Like they tell you, you know, when you're not supposed to be screenshotting their, the orders that you receive, you know, whether you take them or not. You're not supposed to screenshot that and then put it on video. I think that's in their contracts. Check it out. And so what if they, you know, you do that, and I don't know if this can happen, but can they come back and say, you got to give us all the money, what you earned off of that video? I think they can at some point. Maybe, possibly, if that's whatever social media platform. Can they? You know, have you really read this contract? those contracts. Yeah, the mail carrier is coming, doing the daily here at 7:17 p.m. My goodness. Adam's going to be happy. He really likes checking the mail. I used to when we were younger. And now it's him. He likes it. I don't know what he's waiting for, but let me call him. Okay, he came out and got his mail. Got our mail. And I called him on the phone to tell him, and he said, "You're trying to April Fool's me." It's April the 3rd, so no. But I told him on April 1st, I'm not going to try to April Fool's you this year. Because, you know, I got serious about it. I said no, because he had told me, he said, "I've trained myself. Every year you get me on April Fool's Day, so I'm going to make sure you don't this time." And I said, "Don't worry, I'm not going to do that." And I told him, you know, that day, I said, "I'm not going to try because you might think something, I'm April Fooling you, and it's something serious, and you don't believe it, you know." So, because I'm on this pill, been taking this new medication, and I need somebody to take me serious if I say something's gone wonky, you know. So, and he said, you know, now he thinks 2 days later I'm going to try to April Fool's him. But speaking of which, on April 1st itself, Adam was outside. Okay, he's older than I now. He was outside, and me and the dogs were inside, and I was walking from the master bedroom. I was walking through the house, through the living room where the dogs were, and then I turn and I go through a little gate. We keep the dogs out through this because, you know, we have this gate, and it has a spring on it, you know, and the spring shut. I made sure it's shut, and I was walking into the kitchen, which is right there, and all of a sudden I heard this big belch. Okay, like, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, my dogs can't belch like a human. Okay, I mean, Adam could, but he was outside in the front, and nobody else was in the house. Nobody should be in the house. And I said, "Are you in here?" You know, I did that. I said, "I didn't see you come back in." He was not in the house. He was still outside. And I could hear him when he came in, and then he went through that gate. I was like, whoa. And I told him, and I said, wasn't it just the day before, you know, a day before that, I was asking him, I said, that I told you something else that was kind of creepy. And neither one of us could remember what it was, but it was something. Well, that was April 1st. So I'm thinking, you know, then April 2nd happened, another thing happened. I'm thinking he's doing this on purpose. He wants to pay me back for all those years I got him on April 1st. April Fool's Day. But on the 2nd, he was in the master bedroom. I was in the way up at the whole other end of the house. Okay, like one is north and the other is south. That all the way to the end. And I heard this noise that was a ringing, kind of really strange sound. And I came out of there, and I said, I'm looking around like, where's that coming from? Where's that sound coming from? And he came out at the same time, and we kind of met in the middle. And I said, what are you making some kind of noise? And he just kept staring at me. And then he said, I thought you were making that noise. And I said, it sounded like that. He goes, exactly. And what I said was, it sounded a bit like an owl. You know, O-W-L. And it stopped. And I was thinking after that, he's trying to get me back. Okay. But, so he was thinking I was trying to get him about the mail. He said, this has never happened ever. I said, I know. You know. But anyway, I think this is a good point to part to wrap it up. But yeah, you know, the whole thing with that of And just the weirdness behind some of the things that you don't know what kind of contracts these people have with one another. And I think some people have, have come up with some conspiracy theories, which they actually could be something that is real. Not something that's not going to happen, but something that's real. And like you can't feel comfortable anymore with some things. I mean, you could if you turn a blind eye to everything and just thinking, oh, nothing like that's ever going to happen, and oh, they wouldn't do that to me, or oh, depending on whatever kind of, there's so many social media platforms out there. I keep hearing about different ones every time I turn around. So, uh-oh, did those girls get lost? Real life happens, I'm telling you. They are really young girls. Maybe. It's not that close up, but anyway, something always happens here, around here. And this is Friday night. It's Good Friday, though. 7:27. I'm going to wrap this up.